I knew something was wrong the second her phone buzzed and she froze. One moment we were sitting across from the wedding planner, discussing table layouts and floral arrangements, and the next she was staring at the screen like it had swallowed her breath. Then she whispered, "I need some air," and walked out of the hall. I didn't know that would be the last time I saw her as my fiancée. For a minute or two I kept joking with the planner, pretending nothing was strange. But when my phone lit up with her text, "Can't do this. Sorry." My throat closed. I read it 3 times, not understanding, not breathing. The planner asked if everything was okay. I just nodded, stood up, and walked out with legs suddenly made of sand. She was gone. The parking spot where her gray Corolla had been was empty. No goodbye. No explanation. Just sorry. I sat on the curb outside the venue, staring at that text like it could rearrange itself into something less cruel. It didn't. Thing is, I should have known. Looking back now, the signs were there, quiet, small, almost polite in how they tried to warn me. There was the night she said she was staying late at the office but came home with her hair curled, makeup fresher than when she'd left that morning. She brushed it off, saying the girls were testing hairstyles for the reception. I believed her. Or maybe I wanted to. Then came the sudden interest in privacy, password changes, silence notifications. Her screen tilted away even when she was just scrolling recipes. She said it was because of work confidentiality. I nodded again. I trusted again. Because love in its stupid innocence always asks you to. I never asked the questions I feared the answers to. And now here I was, sitting outside the place we were supposed to say our vows, feeling like someone had scooped the inside of my chest clean and left only air. I drove home angrily, gripping the wheel so hard my hands hurt. I didn't know whether to be worried, furious, or humiliated. Maybe all 3. At home, her things were still where she'd left them an hour earlier. Her blue scarf on the couch, her favorite mug on the counter, the soft peach perfume still hanging in the living room. I stared at everything as if it could give me the truth she wouldn't. Then my phone buzzed again. A single message from her best friend, Aisha. "I need to tell you something before she lies to you." My stomach twisted. I called immediately. She answered in a shaky voice. "She's with him," Aisha said. "I'm so sorry." I closed my eyes. "Who?" "You don't know him. A guy from her old job. They reconnected a few months ago." Then the part that burned the deepest. "She never stopped talking to him. Even after you got engaged." I sank onto the armchair, the fabric cutting into my palms. I didn't shout at Aisha. I didn't blame her. I just listened as my future unraveled through someone else's mouth. "She was going to come clean before the wedding," she said softly. "She told me she didn't want to hurt you. But this morning he said he still loved her. And she left to meet him." I felt my pulse in my teeth. "So she chose him." Aisha didn't answer. And she didn't need to. I didn't cry. Not then. It was almost worse than that. Just numbness, like someone had unplugged me from my own life. At some point I stood up, walked to the bedroom, and sat on the floor beside our half-filled suitcase for the honeymoon. 2 passports. 1 pair of sunglasses. Plane tickets we had been excitedly saving for. I stayed there until evening, waiting for her to come home, to explain, to deny, to fight. To do something. She didn't. Not until 7:14 p.m., when I finally got a voice note from an unknown number. Her voice was quiet, drained, rehearsed. "I'm sorry. I didn't plan for this to happen. I'm just not ready for marriage. It's not your fault." That was all. No honesty. No courage. Just a soft curtain drop. The next morning, I woke up with a clarity that felt like stepping into cold water. She had taken everything from me. My trust, my plans, my future. But there was one thing left that I could still control. The story. Not the fairy tale version she'd wanted people to believe. The truth. I uploaded a short, simple post to our shared family group. "Wedding canceled due to the bride's decision to pursue another relationship. Please inform others who may need to know. Thank you for respecting my privacy." Nothing more. No anger. No drama. Just the truth, quiet and sharp as a needle. I knew her relatives would demand explanations. I knew her mother would panic. I knew the questions would finally corner her into admitting what she'd done. It wasn't revenge in the loud, cinematic sense. It was the kind that stings slowly, the kind that comes from honesty rather than fury. She called 10 minutes after the post. I didn't pick up. She called again. And again. On the 7th missed call, I finally sent her one message. I hope he's worth what you threw away. Then I blocked the number. You would think the story ends there. But betrayal has a strange aftertaste. It lingers even when you think you've swallowed it down. 2 weeks later, I ran into her brother at the grocery store. He looked exhausted, embarrassed. She told us the truth, he said quietly. She's not doing well. He backed out. She thought he'd choose her. He didn't. For a brief moment I felt a flicker of the old instinct to comfort, to understand. But it disappeared as quickly as it came. I wasn't her safety net anymore. I nodded politely and walked away. My hands trembled, but my chest felt lighter than it had in months. Sometimes closure is not a conversation. Sometimes it's just the moment you realize you don't want them back. Last night I sat at the dining table, the one we had picked together, and finally allowed myself to breathe. Outside, the city hummed its usual indifferent rhythm. Inside, the silence felt peaceful, not empty. I looked at the chair where she used to sit, her laughter once loud in this room, and felt no anger. Just acceptance. People break what they don't value. And sometimes being left is the first step in finding a life that won't walk away.